chemistry is like half of the win.
Right.
If you win a piece of business, it's because once you check the boxes of they're competent, they're efficient, they can do the job, and then if I like them and I think that they get along with each other, it makes all the difference.
I agree. I always, my favorite analogy with that is that agencies are like nightclubs. They're only as cool as the people that walk in and out of the door.
Nice, that's great.
And we've all been in nightclubs 1 week and it's dead 3 weeks later. Why? Because the cool people stopped going. And I think that as you meet with a brand and you want to show
You're the
off
cool
your
people, by the way.
Yeah, my team is definitely too old to be cool anymore. But I think that the neat thing around that is that, to be clear, that's before the agency is chosen, right? So you're actually going in with Drexler and his company. They're vetting you.
Yeah.
And then you're now talking to the brand about, hey, this is our idea. This is where we came with the strategy. And he's asking us to show the math.
Yeah.
Right? So you built the strategy. How?
Yeah, so their briefing, that's a great point, because he made a comment that briefing that most agencies regret not having enough briefing or quality briefing through the process. It seems like the new way to do pitches today are these series of meetings, and they go on for, honestly, months. But what you end up with is a client that can't wait to work with you because they've already had a chance to get to know you. They've had work sessions. We had a pitch recently where we called it a sleeves rolled up meeting, and the clients showed up in jeans, which was like unheard of. After we won the business, they couldn't wait to work with us because they'd already seen us totally relaxed and chill, as opposed to uptight with suits on.
Yeah. Well, if they see you in a Grease Board session, because if they say, hey, come up with an idea, or where did you guys actually source this idea?
Yeah.
And you have your creative director and your head of strategy and your actual research team and your analytics people, and they're all there like talking and they're coalescing around an idea, they can actually see the brain firing. And I think that's really cool, because then they're like, all right, these guys did come up with it, as opposed to what we present and say, hey, we did this campaign. They didn't know where it came from. They didn't know the KPIs. They didn't know exactly what we were held to as far as standards. It's kind of neat for them to see you ideate in front of them.
Yeah, there was a great comment, again, Mike made, didn't make it to the main stage, which was that they watch when clients are in a pitch, they look to see who does all the talking. Is there one person that just does all the talking and dominates the room versus the collaboration of all the players at the table?
Yeah.
And he said when you can see people working together, and like you said, the brain's firing, synapses going, he said it's really exciting for the clients.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the people for us. I mean, you look at agencies, because our assets are our people. So if they get along, that's obviously a big piece of what we're trying to bring to the table. And to that exact point, we won a gig once based on that. They had this uber creative stud, and I mean, he dazzled everybody, and everyone in the room was really impressed. But the problem was he was it.
Yeah.
Right. So there was no one else in the room that said a word, or if they did, it wasn't something that was relevant or impactful. And I think that was key. And they told us that afterwards. They're like, that guy, if you could hire that guy, it'd be great. But your collective was better than he was.
That's actually a really good piece of information. One of the things we've done is and I've noticed this firsthand, we're starting to reduce the number of senior people in these pitches. Despite the fact that they're usually the deal closers, you get them out of the room, and then the people, frankly, that report to them are really comfortable being themselves, which, by the way, it's all people. They're great. I mean, they're great people. We just got to let them be themselves.
Yeah, and I think the neat thing, too, is that when you have everyone in the room, then you don't have the problem. Let's say we've actually been briefed by the VP and their team, and we actually do our answer based on that, and then the CMO comes in, and he doesn't know. So then he's like, well, guys,
starting all over.
Yeah, is this what you guys are charged to do? And then, everyone in the room is scrambling at that point, because obviously you don't want to embarrass the client who brought you in to help. But that's also, I think, maybe what Mike was talking about as far as the briefing. If you're getting everything, and this goes back to the transparency side of things, which is not the topic, but I think transparency around that relationship and the vetting process is huge, because if you actually have the information, then you can do the best job possible to share that information with your collaborative team.